Okay, calling the meeting to order at 4:30. Roll call, please.
Trustee Crane?
Here.
Trustee Wigan?
Here.
Trustee Soilu?
Here.
Trustee Bartow? Here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Pearson?
Here.
Trustee Anderson? Dr. Smith?
Here.
Okay, well, thank you. Next is adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Trustee
Second.
Wigand
Second.
moved it, and Trustee Soilu seconded. Roll call, please.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Wigan?
Yes.
Trustee Soilu?
Yes.
Trustee Bartow?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Okay, the motion is approved. And seeing that there are no community input on closed session items, we will now move to closed sessions. The items are A, conference with legal workers' compensation, B, conference with labor negotiator, and C, public employee discipline, dismissal, release employment. And we will return to open session at 6 p.m. Thank you. Call to order at 6 p.m. It is before we begin our opening ceremonies, I did want to welcome the students back. It's wonderful to see all the fresh faces in the room. I'd like to call on Student Board Member Brianna for a moment of reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we move to adopting the minutes. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Trustee Bartow? Oh, who was it?
Trustee Pearson.
Trustee Pearson?
But I'll second.
All right, Trustee Pearson moved and Trustee Bartow seconded. Roll call, please.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Wigan?
Yes.
Trustee Soilu?
Yes.
Trustee Bartow?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. Unanimous. We now move on to item 10, Student Board Member Reports.
All right. Well, it's a wonderful time of year where we have new student board members in our meeting today. So I wanted to introduce you to our new student board members for the 24-25 school year, and they are sitting over here to my left, your right. I'm going to first introduce Isaac Stone right over here, little wave. He's from Back Bay High School. And then we have Deb Bustos from Estancia. Hi. And then we have India Howerton from Costa Mesa High School. And then we have Audrey Nguyen Hu from Early College High School. And then Gannon Overfelt from Corona Del Mar High School. And then up here on the dais today, we have Brianna Garcia from Newport Harbor High School. Great. So these are our new student board members from the 24-25 school year. And then today, there will be three that will be reporting out on the topic, and here's the topic. How has back to school gone at your respective high school, and how has the school tried to increase student involvement on campus? Plus, highlight one exciting event coming up on your campus. And to speak first, I'm going to go with Deb Bustos.
Hello, everyone. I was actually really nervous, but that food really calmed me down. So I think I'm good. Good afternoon, Newport-Mesa Superintendent Smith, President Crane, Vice President Wigan, and other esteemed board members. My name is Devaney Bustos. I am excited and honored to be given the opportunity to stand before you, representing the Estancia Eagles with much pride. With school back in session, there have been lots of new faces and rigorous classes to look forward to, and most excitingly, school events. Student involvement has truly been emphasized these past few weeks, wearing our Not Like Us shirts, which I currently have on, for the first Friday of the month, and in contrast and more seriously, dressing in yellow for Suicide Prevention Month. With that, we had post-it notes posted around our school, and I brought two. One says, "Take it day by day," and the other one in Spanish saying, "La vida es difícil, pero tú puedes." The school year has started off with strong and communal engagement and enthusiastic student body participation. We recently had the Battle of the Bell football game against Costa Mesa High School, where we proudly kept the bell here at the nest for another season. Another highlight I would like to touch on for our campus is the Estancia Club Rush, October 4th. Being an active club member myself of Best Buddies and Big Brothers Big Sisters, I can't wait to bring new participants on board. Ending on that inclusive note, a caring sense of community is what our school is all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Isaac Stone from Back Bay High School.
Hello, my name is Isaac Stone. I'm the ASB president at Back Bay High School. Thank you for having me present this evening. At Back Bay, the introduction of a fresh administration has been great. Our new principal and vice principal have brought new energy and ideas to campus. We've had a successful back-to-school night where we invited community, students, and parents and provided dinner. We're also working with Trellis to bring in new activities and mentorships on campus. Our kitchen has listened to students' voices for food. They now offer things such as Shirley's Bagels and salads. This year at Back Bay, we are increasing student involvement by continuing with our mentorship program, intramural sports, ASB activities, and principal advisory board. We are also planning many field trips to visit community colleges, museums, and dance events. We have two exciting upcoming events on our campus. The first one, on October 25th, is our quarter awards that feature all students getting certificates for receiving a GPA of 3.0 or above, and also our Teacher Spotlight Awards. At this event, we have a barbecue and outdoor activities at lunch. Our next event, on October 31st, is when we have our annual Fall Festival. We all dress up in Halloween costumes, participate by class in Halloween crafts, and have a taco cart and Dia de los Muertos activities at lunch for students to participate in. Back Bay has come a long way in offering many activities and events that help involve kids more on campus life and giving them a sense of belonging. We are proud of our campus and make sure each student feels seen, heard, and supported. In conclusion, we want students to feel comfortable coming to our campus, which offers a smaller learning environment where teachers know every student by name. Back Bay has created a special school experience for students that struggled at other comprehensive high schools. I'm proud to be a Back Bay High School Bulldog.
Thank you. Well done. All right, Brianna Garcia from Newport Harbor High School.
Hello and good evening, Superintendent Smith, President Crane, and esteemed board members. My name is Brianna Garcia, and I'm beyond honored to represent Newport Harbor as our student board member this year. The first couple of weeks at Newport Harbor have been filled with an abundance of smiles and great energy as the students and staff have been working hard to create a Sailor Nation community. A prime example of this is our school's feature in KTLA's Friday School Spirit Highlight. Each Friday, KTLA highlights one school in Southern California for their school spirit, and 2 weeks ago, Harbor got the opportunity to be it. The news covered many of our programs such as ASB, cheer, marching band, our #1 in the nation girls flag football team, and our amazing culinary classes. This was a great way to show all of the amazing things that Harbor has to offer and a reflection of what great school spirit we have. However, with such a big campus and number of students, Inclusion and involvement is just as important as school spirit, and we have tried to increase involvement through events such as our Club Rush. Club Rush is one lunch early in the school year, typically the third or fourth week, where club presidents each have a table where they can display what their club is about. Students have the opportunity to walk through all of the clubs and sign up for any they may be interested in. With over 70 clubs, students are able to find something that interests them. However, if there's not exactly one that fits what they're looking for, they are always encouraged to create their own. Furthermore, at Harbor, we have tried making many different groups feel welcome as they begin the school year. This can be seen at the luncheon for any new students, which was hosted by CSF, another club at our school. The individual note cards written to every freshman by Linker leaders for 1 month of being a sailor, and the ELAC meeting where English learning students and families were able to ask any questions they may have. Looking in the future, it was very hard to pick just one exciting event, but one that is coming up is Homecoming Week this Thursday through Saturday. On Thursday, we have a rally which highlights the hard work put in by the fall student athletes, along with performances from pep squad, dance, and drumline. On Friday, we have our homecoming football game featuring our amazing student section, the Tar Pit. And lastly, on Saturday is our homecoming dance hosted by ASB that will have an amazing DJ, photo booth, ice cream, pretzels, and pizza to go along with our New York theme. This is a very exciting couple of days coming up at Newport Harbor that only makes the first month so much better. We are excited to continue this energy into the rest of the school year. Thank you.
Thank you. That was well done.
Great, thank you. We move on to item 11, which is the Harbor Council PTA. Ms. Flora.
I wrote it down this time. Good evening, President Crane, Trustee Vice President Wigand, and Clerk Oselu, and trustees, Superintendent Smith, and cabinet members and community members. My name is Martha Fleur, and I'm the current Harbor Council of PTA's president. Our current PTA membership stands at 3,324, which is 55% of our goal, and we're only into the second. It starts actually July 1, but this goes through September as of today. We would like to extend our gratitude to trustees Crane, Wigand, Urselu, Pearson, and Murphy for not only joining their own respective PTAs, but joining PTAs throughout the district. We are very appreciative of that. And also to several of our cabinet members for their support. We look forward to the day when all the members of the Board of Education and cabinet members are at least a member of one PTA. This goal is crucial to our collective success. We'd also have our first meeting last Monday, and I'd like to extend our gratitude again to Carrie Torres and Lisa Snowden for their great presentations on attendance matters and college and career fair. Especially to Dr. Torres, because we feel that if we can get that information out about attendance matters to our PTA presidents, they will get it out to them. So we'll look forward to working and partnering and making sure that what we can do to help you achieve the goals, because it's really great. I have two important items to report to you on tonight. First, Harbor Council will present a candidate forum on Wednesday, October 9th at Back Bay High School from 6:30 to 8:30. Invitations will go out next week, sent to the candidates in trustees area 1, 3, and 6, and the community is invited. I want to thank the members of the community who, from Newport Harbor and Corona del Mar, who immediately called us and said, "Oh, you can't do it on the 10th, because that was the original day, because that's Battle of the Bay. You can't do it there." So we were able to move it. This is a live forum only. It will not be recorded, and recording devices of any kind will not be permitted. Campaign materials, including signs, flyers, and clothing and buttons worn by the candidates and attendees, will not be allowed in the candidate forum. This forum is neutral territory for sharing philosophy, ideas, and information, not campaigning. Rest assured, the forum will be conducted with the utmost fairness. We will have an impartial moderator, a diligent timekeeper, and courteous Girl Scout ushers to make sure that this is a smooth, fair, and impartial event. Second, California PTA takes positions on statewide ballot issues and measures that have a potential to significantly impact the lives of California's children, youth, and families. On October 10th of 2024, the California State Board of Managers voted to support positions on the following 4 measures slated for inclusion on the ballot for the November 5th, 2024 election. Studies were undertaken to research the content, background, impact, and state PTA's authorities associated with each measure. The first measure, and they are Proposition 2, authorizing bonds for public school and community college facilities. It's a legislative statute. Proposition 2 will authorize $10 million in state general obligation bonds for repairs, upgrades, and construction of facilities at K-12 public schools and community colleges. Proposition 3, constitutional right to marriage. It's a legislative constitutional amendment. Proposition 3 will amend the California Constitution to recognize the fundamental right to marry regardless of sex or race. Proposition 4 authorizes bonds for safe drinking water, wildfire prevention, and protecting communities and natural lands from climate change risks. Legislative statute. Proposition 4 will authorize $10 billion in general obligation funds toward the stated goals. And finally, Proposition 5 allows local bonds for affordable housing and public infrastructure with a 55% voter approval. This is a legislative constitutional amendment. Proposition 5 will amend the California Constitution to allow for the approval of bonds with a 55% vote rather than the current 2/3 vote requirement for affordable housing for low and middle-income families and for local infrastructure projects, including, but not limited to, roads, water, and fire protection. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, now we move on to CSEA report with CSEA President Amy Ching.
All right. Good evening, President Crane, trustees, Superintendent Smith, cabinet, and guests. CSEA would like to thank the trustees and the district's negotiating team, Leona Olson, Sarah Jockum, Lance Bidnick, Shoshana Nokana, and Jake Haley, along with resource person Kristen Clark. At our tentative agreement earlier this month, the month has been running away from me. Earlier this month, we came to a tentative agreement, and our chapter overwhelmingly voted to approve the tentative agreement with a 99% approval rate. We also had over 32 new members join our union
Wow.
that day. So it was a great outcome, and we just want to thank everybody. Because of the mutual respect we have for each other during negotiations, we were able to openly discuss issues and concerns. We want to recognize your support of all employees with a 7% raise. We also want to thank this board and negotiations team specifically for supporting part-time employees. They have tough, unglamorous jobs, but they are an important part of supporting positive student outcomes. We have been working towards implementing CSAP for several years, and it took this board, this district's team, and countless others to make it happen. By approving participation in CSAP, you have shown your support for these valuable employees. This is the good work. We did the good work. While unfortunately we didn't solve all the district's problems during negotiations, we left with stronger relationships and continued to aspire to do the good work, supporting students, staff, and the community. Thank you very much.
All right, now we move on to NMFT and President Rhonda Reed.
Good evening, President Crane, trustees, Superintendent Smith, cabinet, and guests here tonight. So I want to thank the trustees that attended the AFT National Get Out the Vote event at Orange Coast College yesterday. Kind of a last-minute event, so it was nice to see those who could show up and support our local candidates along with the national. We ratified our tentative agreement last Thursday. We had the second largest voter turnout. 73% of our members voted. The TA was ratified with 92% approval. And we also had many members join over the 2 days of voting as well. I again want to acknowledge both NMFT and the district's negotiation team. I have been on 3 cycles now negotiating, and I would say I believe both teams were the most professional, transparent, efficient, and respectful. I know Tamara is speaking tonight about the arts, so this is a perfect time for me to share that our members are so appreciative of the schools that received more spaces in terms of the portables that were installed, especially East Bluff, where the music teacher now has their own space, a classroom, consistently to teach their students in. The first time in over 20 years. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Osorio, could you please read your little spiel?
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items not on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on non-agenda topics are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. By order of the Brown Act, Section 54954.2, the board will take no action nor have any discussion on non-agendized items. The superintendent may provide clarification during superintendent comments.
Thank you. I'd like to call Jim Kachuba to the podium, and on deck is Pam Dickey. Did I say it correctly?
Well, it's been a while since I've been here, but it's good to see everybody. So I'm here to talk about the Ensign bike lanes. And I just want to give you a little bit of history so you understand what the politics are, and maybe you can help in that situation. But like back when I was in my 20s, I bought a home there in Newport. So I remember the old days, and it was very different in that there was no traffic anywhere. So you could basically ignore like a lot of standard protocols, like, you know, bike lanes and sidewalks, because there wasn't any cars. So kind of what happened was things just were done in ways that satisfied the community members. So here we are 40 years later, and now the streets are all very busy. The school has many more students. People are coming from much farther away from, you know, from the stretches of Costa Mesa. So now it's kind of important that in that area, you actually follow the rules that are laid out in traffic engineering. But the problem is that such a drastic change for the community that got used to things working a different way, that it's really hard for the engineers in Newport to make the changes to protect the kids because of the backlash to the at the political level. So I was going to ask for a couple things that could really help. And the most important, it sounds kind of silly, but the bike lanes on Irvine Avenue carry a tremendous amount of kids from far distances. And there's always people parking in them, but they won't give them any tickets because, you know, people get upset. You know, they're basically using them. And it's actually, if you studied engineering, you'd find out that the most dangerous situation for a bicycle is actually mid-block in a situation just like that. So somebody from the city told me if somebody from the district would write a letter and ask them to enforce the parking on Irvine Avenue, they may actually be able to get something done with that. And that's kind of a minor thing. If somebody could write that letter to the city of Newport Beach and ask them to enforce the parking restrictions on Irvine in the morning, you could actually save a kid from an accident right there. So that's a small thing that would make a huge difference in that area. The second thing I wanted to mention was a new problem came, and I wrote a letter about it. A lot of kids were shifted out of the bike lanes into Tustin, which is also against engineering rules, but everybody's looking the other way. So I asked for a traffic study. I think that's important. There's so many bikes in that area, and those kids are coming from so far. They need routes into that school that are safe. And I really don't want to get involved in too many details on that because there's a lot of,
Yeah, you only get 3 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Can I just mention one thing quickly?
And that's all we
I just
give.
want to
It's
thank
out of
Jeff
fairness.
Trader and
Okay,
Ara
thank
for
you.
fixing the pickup.
Pam
drop
Dickey,
off.
thank you.
Thanks.
I'm going to be short and sweet tonight. I'm sure you recognize us. Good evening, Dr. Smith, members of our school board. Thank you very much for allowing us to speak. I'm here before you on behalf of myself, Emma McAllister, Griselda Becerra, and Lynn Mitchell, who couldn't be with us tonight. We wish to thank you, Superintendent Smith, our school board members, especially our union, and all who served on the negotiations team for agreeing to allow our part-time district employees to sign up with the Classified School Employees Summer Assistance Program. We are beyond grateful for all of you negotiating in good faith and bringing this program to our district. I'm a little teary. The impact to those of us who can participate will be huge. Again, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Oleg Krepper, Suf Hirschman, and Stephanie Avital in that order. And did someone bring a stack of product for us to look at, or is that someone specific?
That's Stephanie Avital.
Okay, all right. So when you come up, all right, thank you. So you have 3 minutes, as everyone
All right.
else.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to address the issue related to ethnic studies. It was shocking to watch pro-Hamas activists at UCLA blocking Jewish students from entering the campus. This reminds me of Germany 1933, when Nazi activists were blocking entries into universities for Jewish students. And this started to happen here in California. And it did not start with extremist professors and administration who indoctrinated university students. It started at schools neglecting to teach ethnic bases in history and culture related to Jews. I can give you some examples of ignorance in modern society. It is very common that Jews are identified only as a religion group and not ethnicity. Young people have no or limited knowledge about Holocaust. They will chat from the river to the sea without a slight idea about Jordan River and Mediterranean Sea, and that this is a call for annihilation of Israel, the only democratic state in the Middle East, and killing of Jews. Protesters of so-called occupation and colonization of Palestine have no idea that they vote for demolition of the state of Israel, which existed way before Palestinians as people were ever mentioned. Some time ago, some young Christian ambassadors stopped at my door, and on the explanation that I don't want to be baptized because I'm Jewish, they asked me what kind of sacrifice we perform. Sounds like a slander from middle age. It is way past due to start this education, and it's urgent to start it as soon as possible. Thank you.
Suf, Suf is
Oh,
next.
Sue.
Yeah.
I heard Stephanie.
And then Stephanie, you're after.
So Sue is
That's all right.
I just want to be a stage hog.
Good evening, President Crane, Vice President Gann, Superintendent Smith, members of the board, student board representatives, and community members. My name is Suf Hirschman, and I'm here as a member of this community and a parent of a young child who will eventually enter the public school system here in Orange County. I'm a proud member, proud part of the Jewish community, an NMUSD alumna, an enthusiastic resident of Irvine and the Great Park, and a local entrepreneur and member of the Newport Beach Chamber of Commerce, serving small businesses and startups in our community. I've always been a strong advocate for public education and have long admired the opportunities our schools provide. However, I come to you tonight with concerns about rising anti-Semitism and hate in schools, which I have seen in other districts, including neighboring communities. As a parent, I want to feel confident that my child will be entering a school environment where all students, regardless of their cultural or religious background, are respected and protected. I've heard troubling stories about anti-Semitism and one-sided activism and portrayals of complex global issues like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in other districts. And I hope that the Newport-Mesa School District continues to lead by example in ensuring that these issues are addressed proactively here. I urge you to continue taking proactive steps to ensure that anti-Semitism, as well as all other forms of hatred, baseless hatred, have no place in our schools. In addition, and as we've seen how these issues often come hand in hand, it's crucial that if and when students engage in sensitive topics like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, they are given the space to have balanced and respectful discussions where all perspectives are represented. We have an opportunity to be a leader in creating an inclusive and thoughtful learning environment. By taking steps now to address these concerns, we can protect our students and ensure our schools remain a place of respect and open dialogue. Thank you for your time and for your dedication to the well-being of our students, and we wish you guys a great school year.
Thank you. Stephanie, you can come up now. And then after Stephanie is Stacy Cassell and Judy Yehuda.
Thank you, Superintendent and board members, for letting me come to speak tonight. As you can see, there's kind of a running theme. A group of us are here with a concern, but we're not coming just to complain and talk about hate. I've come to talk to you about some tools, possibly. I am a proud mother. My name is Stephanie Avital. I'm a proud mother of 3 students that have gone through the district and the schools here in Newport-Mesa. They've all since graduated, and if I do say so myself, they're amazing, but that's also because of the schools they went to. So thank you very much, first of all, for that. My kids overall had a good experience in school. My one youngest child, Ella, did have a very serious anti-Semitic experience in 6th grade. But she, you know, it was dealt with the principal, and she rose above it. And my kids are better people because they've had both good and bad experiences that have formed who they are. We just don't want this to happen to other students throughout the school and any time ever. So with that, I'd love to tell you about a few local resources that you can use to address to all of your high schools and all of your middle schools. First, we have the Holocaust Memorial Center. We have a local tolerance museum here, and I bet you didn't know that. It is newer. It is 2 years new, and it is based upon a gentleman who is from Huntington Beach. He's a Holocaust survivor, and he created all this artwork to become his lethargic therapeutic way of getting through the Holocaust. And we have an incredible display. I personally am a docent there, so I can tell you all about the details of the tour and how amazing it is. It is run by Rabbi Minsk and his wife, Hani. And you've got the brochures. Please pass these on to your high schools. It's very important, I think, that we let them know about it. The next thing is Student to Student. It is a program that the Jewish Federation sponsors, and that is when students come in and speak to their peers about what it's like to be Jewish. This can foster and create understanding, open-mindedness, kindness, and educating people. We know that that's more effective than teachers teaching often when a peer comes to speak to another peer. Another source is a play called Survivor. It is also financially sponsored by someone in our community. They will come to your high school, and the kids will be able to enjoy the play Survivors. And one last thing I do want to share, how amazing, you have 2 principals, Bolton, is it Bolton? Sean Bolton? Yep. And Dr. Haley. They have been progressive in defeating hate in their schools. They reached out to their community. They were swift with it. I think they're amazing. I know Dr. Haley has sent several of his classes through the museum, and I appreciate all they have done, and you can tell them I said so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stacy Cassell.
Hi, good evening, President Crane, Superintendent Smith, board members, and all community members. I just want to take one moment of your time. I'm an Orange County resident since 1989, and the population of I don't know if you know this, population of the U.S. is about 330 million people. Of that, about 5 million people are Jewish in this country. That is just around 2% of the total U.S. population. We need to ask ourselves as a community, why are hate crimes up more than 400% for Jews, according to FBI statistics? And why are Jews the highest rated report of hate race crimes? If we are so few, why are Jews so targeted? I come here to ask you today to please make our schools a safe place of learning for all minorities, including Jews. Schools should not be a place for anyone to be harassed for their race or origin. We hope the Newport-Mesa School District be the example of a hate-free environment for all children. Our schools should be a place where kiddos are made to feel supported by teachers and staff and to feel secure that in their schools, the only thing they have to focus on is their curriculum and developing lasting, meaningful relationships. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next is Judy Yehuda.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm here to echo the concerns of the Jewish community regarding anti-Semitism in our schools. My children went to Orange County schools. My youngest is 33, my oldest is 40, and I have to say at that time they did not experience any anti-Semitism. Things have really changed a lot, and especially in the past year. And I think our community, the Jewish community, is really stunned by how quickly things have changed. And as Oleg spoke earlier about how quickly things are beginning to look like Germany in the early 30s. The schools, the school boards, the school principals, you have a lot of influence, and you have the power to make a difference in what direction we go going forward. So I encourage you to use that to enforce a zero tolerance policy on anti-Semitism and on hate in general. And I hope that you have a successful school year and that we all move forward in a community that works together. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent, comments?
Bike safety has been a big issue for this board and our community. We have a new bike safety strategic plan, which is awesome, where our students get training and certification on safe biking habits. And Instant is one of those areas that we pay a lot of attention to. I thank Jim for bringing that up. We meet regularly with the city officials. In fact, we regularly watch the bike patterns there with them, stand on the street. Kids look at us like they don't know what we're doing. And I get it, because we're all dressed in suits standing on the street corner. But we watch it and we pay attention. And so we will continue having conversations about enforcement. How do we make sure that our bicyclists are safe? Because we certainly appreciate the benefit to students out riding bikes. You'll hear trustees talk about that versus, being in cars all over the road. There's work to be done, so thanks for keeping that in front of us. The Summer Assistance Program, just thank you to everybody that spoke up. A huge thank you to the board because, and I've said this publicly many times, this is an issue that the board cares about deeply, making sure that our employees at every level has the resources that they need to live here and be a part of these communities. And I think tonight that's the theme, and you'll see several efforts in that regard, and it's exciting. And we mentioned several times from the dais that we had every intention of working together to find a solution. And that's what the representatives of CSEA and the district negotiators did. They held true to that, and we're excited for what we get to share tonight. It's a great night, not just for employees, but for every single student that they support and serve, and that's powerful. With regard to the comments about hate and anti-Semitism, all of us have a lot to learn and areas for growth. I do want to point out some of the things that we are doing, because I hope some people are encouraged by the work that has happened. And while Dr. Haley and Dr. Bolton were mentioned, really at all of the sites and by this board, this work has been a priority. We heard a student say earlier, and wouldn't we all agree, and this is going to be for some of you that especially think when I speak it's true, our kids are so much smarter than the adults, right? Our students said tonight that students need to be seen, heard, and supported. All of them. Not just the ones we agree with, all of them. And we have this saying here in our district that every student needs to be seen, heard, valued, and saved. But I like supported, because valued may be gibberish. What does that mean? If you feel supported, right, that's true value, right? And in this regard, we've got to do work in this area. And so our district has brought together inclusion councils. We have worked with the OC Jewish Federation on things from honoring high holidays to, as we prepare for ethnic studies, how do we do that intelligently and representing our community? And that's why we didn't buy something off the shelf. This board decided to convene a committee of our residents to say, what do we value? And how do we approach these things? And so we've been going slow to be successful in this regard. And so I want to thank the people doing that work. They brought that program to us, student to student. So we've been doing student to student in some of our schools, and we're looking for a way to take that to more schools. The challenge really is their scalability. They're like, we don't have enough people to do all that work that you want to do. So that's a good problem to have, that we're seeing success with this and working with our allies to say, how do we do more? Can you do more? Can you bring more people to bear in this important conversation? The museum, we go to that museum. We're so excited. I had a couple of principals text me while they heard some of you speaking, because they have nothing better to do on a Tuesday night than watch board meetings on YouTube. And they said, we go. And in fact, every 11th grader at one of our schools goes to that museum. But this is supported by all of our schools. The Museum of Tolerance as well. Tonight, we have on our agenda a contract, if the board so approves, to provide support to teachers teaching curricular units in this regard. Right? So we're bringing these resources to the district because we agree with you. If we are going to create a culture of belonging and connectedness for every single kid, all 18,000 in this district, where every kid is seen, heard, supported, and safe, then we're going to have to address these issues together. So again, we're not there. We're trying to get there. We appreciate the recommendations made tonight because we share a commitment that I just mentioned. So that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Very eloquent. We now move on to item 15. Trustee Soiler? Community input on agendized items.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. Speaker cards for items on the discussion action calendar may be held until that item is considered by the board if the speaker prefers.
Okay, we have one speaker, and would you like to wait till 17 or speak now? All right. So let's move on then to achievement, which is the report on summer school program. Ms. Shields?
Thank you. Under the direction of the board, we have continued to create very robust summer school programs. To exemplify that tonight, our summer school program will be a mix of many people from many departments to share what happened at both the elementary, secondary, special education, and English learner departments, and really to acknowledge and appreciate all departments within this district. We have essentially extended the school year for so many of our students and families, and the caliber of what we deliver and the length of service we deliver over the summer really is, because of the board and the direction of the board, second to none in terms of what we're able to offer. So I welcome Dr. Flores and her team up to speak about it.
Off to a good start. Up there. All right. Good evening, Dr. Smith, President Crane, Board Trustees, Executive Cabinet, esteemed guests and colleagues. It is an honor to be here tonight as we showcase the many opportunities provided to students from preschool through 12th grade during the summer months in Newport-Mesa Unified School District. We take great pride in highlighting the diverse learning experiences that go above and beyond the traditional 180 school days, demonstrating the district's commitment to enriching the lives of our students. Each of us speaking tonight could easily dedicate an entire presentation to the individual programs in which we lead. However, we are here to highlight the collaborative efforts that ensure all of our students are fully supported throughout our summer programs. Our aim is to provide a clear and concise overview of the opportunities available to students and their families. This evening, you'll hear from 5 directors and 1 student, but this work wouldn't be possible without the continuous support of our certificated and classified staff across various departments, and we are deeply grateful to call them our colleagues. To start us off, Kathleen Leary will share about the preschool summer programs.
Good evening. We have all of our preschool summer programs at 3 of our sites this year. Our full year, as you know, goes 246 days, so they attended summer learning all throughout the summer except for July 4th. We had 2 classes at Pomona. They were relocated to Ray for a few weeks, and 2 classes at Whittier with enrollment about 48 children. We also had a tuition preschool with a 3-week program at Paularino, and we had an enrollment of 18 children there. And you can see from this picture of our little guy who's being an explorer that during the summer, our preschool children had a fun and engaging and thematic units to integrate all the subjects like science, reading, language, and math. This little explorer here is a jungle explorer, and he was involved in activities like wearing his explorer hat while pretending to navigate through a forest, sparking our children's interest about learning about animals, plants, and ecosystems. So they had a lot of fun this year. And I'm going to turn it over to Christy.
The Elementary Summer Scholars Academy welcomed approximately 2,000 students across 5 host sites, organized based on students' home schools and transportation routes. The program was supported by 12 admin interns who worked half-day shifts alongside 68 Newport-Mesa certificated teachers and 91 classified staff members who made learning engaging and fun. They incorporated familiar strategies and materials such as thinking maps, Hegarty's Bridge to Reading, guided language acquisition development strategies, otherwise known as GLAD strategies, and PBIS practices. In addition, all students participated in hands-on science assemblies, along with a diverse array of enrichment classes. With a strong foundation of summer programs already in place, we decided to pilot a few offerings this year, aimed at continuous improvement and better service to our students. The first being a targeted reading intervention for incoming 2nd grade students. Thanks to the collaboration with Dr. Lori Hernandez and TOSA's Shannon Haney and Juliet Hildy, all 5 elementary sites conducted small reading groups using the district-adopted Hegarty's Bridge to Reading program. These groups met daily for about 20 minutes. The focus was on boosting students' phonemic awareness, phonics, and reading of connected text. Despite the limited time that we had, about 18 days, we were still pleased with the progress that we saw from our students. To share about the second pilot, I invite Laura Del Pash.
Good evening. So I'm going to skip through the words because I'm going to say that so you can see the happy faces. So our elementary English language development TOSAs were very busy this summer, working with our newcomers at Lincoln School. They serviced just under 50 students with intensive language experiences utilizing GLAD or guided language acquisition design strategies that really focused on speaking and writing for our newcomers. So most exciting about this pilot is that our TOSAs really got to know these students, and they're going to continue that work and continue those academic gains throughout the school year. I was very brief because I want to see you again for summer language.
Good evening. The focus of the secondary program is slightly different. The focus is on providing additional opportunity for learners who may have had a hard time during the regular school year. So providing credit recovery opportunities and a little boost of extra support during the summertime. This summer we ran a consolidated program for students 7 through 12, both at Newport Harbor and at Costa Mesa. If you recall, previously we would run secondary programs at each one of our sites, which was a wonderful thing to do, but presented significant staffing challenges. We really emphasized in-person instruction this year. We know that students really benefit from having their teacher in front of them teaching math, ELA, science, all of those subject matters. And so we sought to move away from having students recover their credit or recover their learning by way of online platforms. We still utilize those online platforms, but really prioritized in-person instruction. As we've done in the past number of years, provide an opportunity for our rising 7th, 8th, and 9th graders who are becoming acquainted with their middle and high schools to participate in a bridge program that provided some foundations in both ELA and in math while also providing an elective opportunity. And then we did provide some initial credit offerings. So as we look at the secondary program by the numbers, in total, we served just over 1,400 students, which is actually an increase over the previous years. And so, you know, one of the things that we were mindful of is knowing that we were consolidating down to 2 campus, would we still be able to serve the number of students that we have in the past or even grow it? And we were happy that we were able to. So in total, our students earned nearly 6,000 credits over the summer. And as I referred to earlier, those in-seat courses, those are all of the main courses that are the most important courses that our students take while they're in high school. And we were able to do that with our district board adopted curriculum, with live instruction, with teachers seeing and providing that instruction every day, which is absolutely critically important. There are other opportunities. Sometimes students need a second opportunity in a class that maybe it's just kind of a one-off thing. And so we did run the Edgenuity program. And then there was a small number of online courses available. In total, we had 62 teachers running class sizes of about 14, which is a really nice size, big enough to have a group where you can connect with, but small enough where we can provide individualized attention. And of course, we're always mindful of how we're serving both our English learners and our socioeconomically disadvantaged students. And so those students were definitely represented in our program. Thank you. This time I'll pass it over to Dr. Simonovsky.
Good evening. I'm excited to share our ESY summary for our wonderful program this year, where we have the privilege of serving students ages 3 to 22. And so our elementary at a glance, we were very fortunate this summer and even in the spring months ahead to plan collaboratively with Christy Flores and her wonderful team of admin interns and our admin interns and coordinators as we look at our elementary programs. And so there was a lot of pivots that we had this summer. And so one of them, again, is working together on the same campuses this year and looking at those pivots from classroom opportunities, making sure we had opportunities to work together, some mainstreaming opportunities as well, and some fun outdoor activities too. So when we're looking at these sites, we had 2 sites specifically at Paularino and at Mariners, where we housed our preschool program there specifically. And then the other programs we ran from TKK all the way to 6th grade. For our secondary program, we worked closely with Keith's team, and again, just a big shout out to the secondary, kind of our collaborative sisters and brothers that are working hand in hand in this, and looking at those opportunities, again, being collaborative. You can kind of see on this picture right over here in the front, most of you might be familiar with the flower cart program that we have during the year, and some of the dog treats, yes, exactly, right behind you, that we offer. And so really looking at that during the summer, looking at things like the coffee cart. And so again, just trying to really bridge those opportunities and those skills that we're trying to enrich for our students and elevate during the summer. So in total, we had 346 students between, again, the ages of 3 to 22 participate in our program. And so when we look at that from last year, we were sitting at about a little under 320, so we did have that increase. In addition to that, we had 45 classroom teachers as a part of the program. Again, another growth from the year prior to. When we look at the type of feedback that we received from our staff specifically, a shift and again a pivot this summer was looking at providing professional development and training opportunities for both our teachers and also our classified staff, our BI, our behavior interventionists and instructional aides. So a lot of the planning that went up front with the professional development, we had folks from ARIES, we had transportation, we had curriculum, we had some of our inclusion specialists come over. So again, a lot of great training, an opportunity that we built out this summer intentionally to really help us land for a lot of the positive outcomes and testimonials from the great experiences in working together as a team, knowing who my aides and my staff were in advance, becoming very familiar, and working closely with HR in positioning our staff to the students that they know best during the year and helping to the greatest extent possible, rolling that over into the summer too. Positive feedback from our transportation and also food services as well. So just a lot of positive things that came out of that initial planning and rollout. We also, at the end of the year, summer, ESY, excuse me, launched a survey to our parents in addition to our staff. And so some of the growth highlights that I wanted to share with you this evening was hearing from our parents and guardians, seeing that our students showed significant improvements in social skills, communication, academic development, and then many of our parents and guardians rating that with a 5. And so, again, just a nice testament to some of the professional development, the use of our curriculum, and then also looking at just the communication and social skills that our kids get to work on during the summer, either with their peers or typical peers that they have in the general education settings. So of the components in the survey, you'll see that social skills, our parents and guardians reported some of the biggest strengths that they observed over the summer. That was actually our highest, one of the highest ones our parents reported, with at least a 78% notice rate from the beginning to the end. Same thing with the consistency and the routines. And again, I cannot emphasize the importance of us being very strategic in aligning our teachers with knowing the students and having just that strong start and familiarity with our students. And again, communication skills, transitions, providing that specialized academic instruction, which was a great opportunity also, especially with our SAI teachers that we had during this summer. And then we look at the next steps and considerations. I'm just going to kind of hit this button and go back. Was a lot of the professional development that we rolled out for the first time this summer and wanting more of that PD time and training for our teams. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to.
Okay. I told you I was coming back. So Summer Language Academy was my privilege to support Summer Language Academy again this summer. I think you're all familiar. So just again to highlight, this year our Summer Language Academy was held at Costa Mesa Middle School, but represented students from all of our campuses, and we represented 7 languages this summer. So again, we collaborated with California State University Fullerton on our assets-based curriculum and professional development for teachers. We had about 60 students who explored culture and community while having opportunities to learn English and validate their home language. Most exciting this summer, a little bit different. I really want to thank Ms. Torres and Ms. Shields for the first time, and I think this is about our 8th year with Summer Language. We were able to offer credits for our high school students. So very exciting, especially for our newcomer students who sometimes are coming in, 10th or 11th grade. That's really an exciting opportunity for them to earn Summer Language credits, and they can continue to do that if they do the program again next summer. So very exciting. So to culminate our overall presentation, we saved the best for last, which is our student. So it's my privilege to introduce Marae. Come on up. Marae is from Newport Harbor High School. She has participated in Summer Language for the past 2 summers, and we've really had an opportunity to watch her grow and flourish. So here you're going to see Marae in our academy and some of her projects, and she's going to share her reflections with you tonight.
Good evening, Dr. Smith, President Crane, Vice President Waiver, board members, and Newport-Mesa community. My name is Mirei Kurmanali. I'm a senior in Newport Harbor High School. I was born in Kazakhstan, and I've been here almost 2 years. First thing first, I want to say huge thank you for my ELD teacher at Newport Harbor High School. His name is Neil Malkus, and he did a lot of hard work with me. And the second thing, of course, is Summer Language Academy. How she said, I've been attending 2 years in Summer Language Academy. I learned a lot of things and met such a cool people there. I found my community in this academy. I can tell you that the last 2 years were the best parts in my life. I love this program because it cares about how people feels in new country without any languages, speaks, and there helps us with this barrier. Also, they do not force students to study. Instead, they're doing interesting things like games, arts, how you sing their group projects. It's really cool, kind of. My plan for the future is continue to my study at OCC, Orange Coast College, for 2 years and then transfer to university. I'm choosing lawyer now, but I might switch to pilot or something like that. I'm also in an instrumental music program, in marching band, orchestra, all the band, jazz band, and I would love to continue this way as well. I'm really grateful that you are supporting this program, and thank you for having me here today to present in Summer Language Academy. It's an honor for me. Thank you for your attention. Muchas gracias.
Such a joy to hear directly from our students. Thank you for sharing your story. Tonight's presentation brought together many moving parts and individuals, providing a comprehensive overview of the key components necessary to run multiple successful summer programs. When considering summer opportunities, several factors come into play. From our lens, we believe the following are among the most critical: reviewing the schedules and thinking about our families, the attendance policies that we put into place for our summer programs, professional development, and the many opportunities available to our staff, looking at and thinking through the pre- and post-student achievement metrics, the financial impact and the sustainability available within our district, and of course, the continuous improvement. Your time and support have been invaluable, not only this evening, but throughout the summer, as you have visited multiple school sites as well as attended many showcases. I think I had the pleasure of sitting next to Dr. Smith during his third performance of the Jungle Book, so thank you, sir, for your attendance and support as well. Yes, noted. We are truly grateful for your involvement, and at this time, we would like to open the floor for any questions that you may have.
Trustee Anderson?
Thank you. I did have a question. I was trying to find it. With the targeted intervention for first graders, thank you for including data. I think this is important. I know we haven't been doing a lot of data in the past for summer school. It looks like the students at Ray did an amazing job, but the students or the data here for Whittier is much different. I'm guessing it was pretty similar. Do we have an idea why that's so different?
Absolutely. So a couple of things come into play when looking at that data. One, the number of students who were attending, the group of students who participated and who were at Whittier. We started out with 33 students, and by the end of the program, there were only 28. Also, something to keep in mind is there were only 6 students at Whittier who had perfect attendance. And so keeping it all in consideration, it's 18 days, 12 to 20 minute small groups. And so I think something that really stood out to us about the group at Whittier was also the levels in which students were entering at, and reading the notes from the teachers there of students who were entering at 0 of the 8 words, and really the ability to build up their confidence. So yes, we took into account that data, but also those observations and boosting students' confidence in the reading programs as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the numbers though, it's not the students, right? So they're learning the same things. To me, if Ray is able to make those gains of almost 50% in only 18 days, that is possible at Whittier. And so I think maybe it's a communication thing. Do we insist, we tell them at the outset, we need you to be here for every day? We are working, is there like a pre-piece to it? When I see numbers this different, to me, A, it's what's possible, and B, what could we have done differently at Whittier?
Absolutely, and I think those are really important observations and learnings, as this was the first time that we ever collected a pre and post data point. I think something that we can improve on are the attendance policies and the communication, and emphasizing the importance of attending. Just like attendance matters during the 180 days, so does during the 20 days that we offer those summer programs. So I would agree. I think that is something that we can take into consideration as far as that communication and that outreach, and emphasizing the importance of regular attendance.
Okay. And also, too, I think it could be helpful to add if there are additional resources that can come in play, like maybe some students honestly, the birth dates make such a big difference at the early grades. If they're there all day, as some of the students were, maybe we can bring in a group like the Literacy Project Foundation that does a phonics-based soccer game, and kids raise 25% in 6 weeks, similar things like that, that the students think that they're just playing a game, but perhaps this wasn't the best approach, sitting in a small group for some students. So I would love to see different approaches, but I'm really glad to see that the students at Ray really dramatically benefited from this program. So thank you.
Thank you for the feedback.
Trustee Arsoilo?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. This is all really great information. I just have a little question on the Summer Language Academy. What were the 7 home languages? What are the 7?
Laura, are you able?
I know Arabic.
I think I'm short too, Arlene. Spanish, Russian, Portuguese, Mandarin, Arabic, Bulgarian, and Ukrainian.
Cool.
And what was the last one?
Ukrainian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a, trustees, anyone else before I?
I did have one more question.
Okay, Trustee Anderson. Trustee Pearson.
Well, we were just trying to figure out what exactly is the extended school year student? Like what constitutes?
ESY, remember those are special education students who qualify for extended year. The ESY program. It's a subset of special education students who through their IEP, it's determined they need summer services.
Yeah, it's often through the IEP team. It's most of the students, it's based on two factors. One is regression and recoupment. And so the IEP teams, as they're either meeting in the fall or the spring, they talk about progress, and it's intended to help students not regress going into the next school year.
So does it become mandatory at that point, or?
It's not mandatory, it's an offer. It's mandatory that the district offer a summer program for students. So for several years in the district, extended school year, ESY was the only program we offered. So we're really excited that Janet came on board to have some opportunities for students to mainstream. But it's a requirement for us under education code and state and federal law to offer students who need it, who require it for their education, the opportunity to participate in an extended school year.
Okay, Trustee Murphy.
Oh, yeah. So, is it offered to special ed students and families who don't have this as a requirement in their IEP?
So if it's in their IEP, then it's considered ESY.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not in their IEP, they can participate in any of the other summer programs that we have. And so we have students who sometimes have done both. They attend the extended day program in the morning, and in the afternoon they go to the district's other summer program.
But
Yeah.
so but basically, if you want your student to attend and they don't have an IEP, they can still attend.
They can attend a summer program, either the secondary summer program, the elementary summer program, the preschool program, but for the extended school year, it has to be on an IEP. So that's how it's differentiated.
Thank you.
Actually, along those lines, so do we provide accommodations, obviously, for the non-ESY IEP students that join summer school? We provide the services that they need.
Yes.
Okay.
So it depends. So if a student is going to, if a student has certain services, maybe speech or they have resource support during
Right.
the school year, we'll determine if they attend a summer program, what level of support that may need to be.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. Oh, Trustee Anderson, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just wondering if it would be possible to get the survey, the ESY parent and staff survey. I'm particularly interested in the staff component. I've had a couple of people reach out to me in the past couple of years. I'm glad we're doing this survey, first of all, but I would love to know what all of the results are and how many, particularly like how many parents were asked. Does it just says many? So I would just love to see the survey.
Sure, happy to provide that. And the survey was provided in the three primary languages, or the three languages that we know our parents spoke. It was digital, so everything was all electronic. So we have that. There were quantifiable kind of metrics. Again, you saw the rating scale of 1 to 5, but then there was some open-ended, kind of open free response, if you will. I don't know the right word, but just free response, so they can also add their narratives on there. This was the second year that we've done the survey, very similar and parallel to what Christy has done too this year. So when we're trying to get some parent input, we're asking for very similar things when we're looking at that. Ours are obviously just a little different in the sense that we're looking at things like communication skills or what we're seeing life skills. So there's just some variety that might be a little different than what we might see in a traditional non-ESY type of a survey, but sure.
Yeah, especially the staff, because the staff, it sounded like this year the aides were able to connect with teachers ahead of time. That was one of the concerns before, so I'm glad to hear that some of those things changed.
Sure, we have.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Trustee Murphy?
Oh, just a quick question. What was the participation rate on the?
On the parent survey in English, I remember it was 55, no, excuse me, 35, and I think Spanish and English was probably, Spanish and, why am I forgetting the other one? Russian, I think it was like less than 5 completed on the other languages.
So we should maybe do some work on bringing up the participation
Yes, yes. And looking at other ways to put it out there too. I know sometimes electronic is not always, we left it open weeks after ESY had ended, just to try again a different kind of a catch, if you will. So looking at other ways that we could send it, maybe sending it home, or other ways to kind of pull more information back into us, yes.
Well, as a mom of a special needs special ed student, yeah, like you need multiple reminders.
All right.
I just had one.
Yes, Trustee Bartow.
We do a lot of work at Coastline RLP with VitalLink, and one of the things that they have a hard time getting is data related to surveys. And they found that pretty much the only way they could do it was to get it in person, and the QR codes didn't work. So students are the people that they're surveying. Those are super, super hard to track down, but I assume that it's probably similar with the parents. So year over year, they found that they had a huge increase in participation when they kind of made people stand there and take the survey in front of them. So I don't know how feasible that is, because I know it's probably hard, but they went from like a 10% response rate to like a 60% in 1 year, and it was pretty dramatic. So just some feedback from a, I don't know, another thing I do in school board land.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. One relates to the Summer Language Academy. It's mentioned that students get the bonus of getting credit for the class. Is that an A through G credit? What type of credit is it? Where does it fit?
They're getting elective credit.
Elective credit.
Which actually is, I'm going to generalize, but is sometimes harder because a lot of our newcomer students may come in with credits for more academic classes like, history and science and math. And so electives are actually sometimes a little more challenging. So they get those elective credits.
Okay. And then secondly, under secondary summer school, have we been able to track students who attend and then see if it's helped their graduation prospects?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's the work that we're doing right now to really evaluate the effectiveness of it. We know that districts made a tremendous investment in this program,
Right.
And so as we continue and evaluate how we want to do that, that's the work that we're going to engage in right now.
And another investment that our board made was in our graduation coaches. And so when our graduation coaches identify students who are credit deficient, they participate in summer school, those credits move back to the high school. They kind of refocus those students and really try to keep them on track. So I think we've only had the program for 2 years. And so I think that we'll be able to see additional data moving forward to see how many students we save through this process.
Thank you. Oh, one more. Trustee Anderson.
I have one last question. Upon reflection about the attendance, I was sick for most of the month of July, and I was realizing, as Whittier is my neighborhood school, a lot of people in my neighborhood were also sick. Can we also get attendance data based on like if someone has an excused absence or not, rather than someone just not going for a week because they went on vacation, or if a lot of people were sick, because I actually think that could be a big contributing factor.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. Great job on summer school. I'm very proud of the achievements, and we love the numbers. All right, so let's move on to item 17, a report on our strategic arts plan. Dr. Sir?
Yes, well, we are excited to bring to you our report on the NMUSD Strategic Arts Plan.
One second.
Yes.
That's right. We do have a comment on item 17. Go ahead, before the report.
I'm back again, not only as Harbor Council PTA president, but also as a parent, a grandparent, former 29-year-old, 29, I wish I was 29, 29-year board member and a member of the PTA. And I'm here to talk about your strategic arts plan. Yippee. California State PTA has strongly and actively advocated for full curriculum that includes the arts over the past 37 years. Arts education supports all kids. And in the past, prior to Prop 28, many school districts in the state of California cut the arts. It was one of the very first things that when we were in budget cuts, but not Newport-Mesa. Studies show that arts keep students in school, increase graduation rates, improve academic success, increase a students' ability to create, collaborate, think critically, and communicate. California PTA and our council vigorously campaigned for the passage of Prop 28 in November of 2022. Our PTAs in Newport Harbor and in the Newport Beach and Newport-Mesa School District have been instrumental in funding and staffing school-wide arts instruction and after-school and extracurricular arts programs, and in this strategic plan affirms the PTA's commitment to the arts in Newport-Mesa. On a personal note, I am proud of the profound effect previous boards of education and this board will have on the arts in Newport-Mesa. From funding music programs at each of our elementary schools in the 1990s to finally building 4 freestanding performing arts centers in theaters at our comprehensive high schools. Thank you, Newport-Mesa Arts Foundation Commission, the district, and most importantly, because I've sat on that Arts Commission for many years, Tamara Fairbanks, the now NMUSD teacher on special assignment arts, for her fortitude and tenacity in making this strategic plan a written, living document that we can now look back on. Our families, our teachers, our students, and our communities, thank you.
Thank you.
So that concludes
And now
our...
we will loop back around. Nice,
you, Martha.
nice try, Kurt. And now, go ahead, Dr. Sir.
Yeah, no,
with
thank
the
you very
report.
much. We're excited to bring to you a report on the Strategic Arts Plan for Newport-Mesa Unified School District. This truly is a collaboration between the district and the Newport-Mesa Unified School District's Arts Commission, which is comprised of teachers, staff, administrators, parents, and community partners. Part of our process was taking a look at numerous arts plans, both within the county and outside of the county. And tonight we're excited to be able to share with you what our core programs are and what some of our Prop 28 additions are. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to 3 people, Tamara Fairbanks, Dr. Lori Hernandez, and Dr. Mike Shaka. We'll start with Mike.
Thank you all. President Crane, members of the board, Dr. Smith, Executive Cabinet, and all of our guests. Martha, thank you. You covered pretty much my entire introduction, so it's going to be a much shorter presentation, so that's a positive. The purpose of this presentation is to give a short overview of the Strategic Arts Plan in Newport-Mesa. The art plan is designed to both capture what we currently have in Newport-Mesa and also to strategically plan for the enhancement and support of arts as we move forward. We've worked with many partners on this. First and foremost, our Arts Commission. So again, thank you for the partnership in both input and review of this arts plan. And I think it's important to know it really truly is a collaborative effort. Our goal is to start with broad exposure in the elementary levels of arts and funnel that up into opportunities to specialize as the students grow over time through middle and high school. So without taking up too much more time, I'm going to hand it over to our star, Tamara Fairbanks.
Good evening. Our arts programs are based off of these 5 domains: dance, media arts, music, theater, and visual arts. And within each of these subject matters, we have 4 components that make up our California music standards, which are creating, performing, presenting, producing. That's all in one category. Then responding and connecting. And through these standards, pre-K all the way to 12, these are the skills and the goals that we have for our students. And this is what all of our educators are bringing to our students right now. So in the case of media arts, which is our newest component in the arts standards and framework, it's not new as a subject matter, but it is newer in our as a state-adopted framework subject matter. A lot of those courses are actually in our CTE components of our curriculum. However, they are also part of our strategic arts plan because they build the students and their skills in that matter. So like in the case of music, we always focus on performing, but there's also music technology. So that creating component is very key for our students' learning and their productivity. At the elementary, for our elementary arts and our core for the elementary arts, for the longest time we've had TK through 6 general music. And for the longest time, at least in the early 2000s, we were the only ones who serviced that primary age in our music classes. And so with that, with TK through 6 general music, those kids are building those components, those skills, in order to go to the secondary level and actually perform in their ensembles. And at the elementary level, we also have ensembles. So our general music teachers are doing both. They're doing the ensemble and they're teaching general music. And a lot of those ensembles, in the case of Whittier, they're actually taking those, using that connection component of our standards and connecting it to the culture of their school site. So they have a mariachi program. They began a mariachi program in the spring, and it's flourishing right now, which is incredible because it's so needed in that community. In addition to that, Kaiser is a great example because they have a modern band program and modern band ensemble. And having taught in the Newport Harbor Zone, you find it hard to find a student who doesn't have a parent or a grandparent that was in a surf band. and so those cultural components add just that excitement in their learning. Also, we have been investing in instruments and technology. So by the end of this year, every school site will have their own set of violins, so we will not have to rotate violins anymore. We have technology. We purchased seats for Soundtrap, which is a music technology software for our 6th grade students, and have enough seats for our 6th graders. And so we keep moving the needle forward in that learning component of all of our students. In addition, we have very rich partnerships, and those partners have been helpful in building all of our programs. So whether it is OC Music and Dance, Arts and Learning Conservatory for musical theater programs, or Class Act, or even some of our partnerships with Orange Coast College, it takes a community to build artistic literacy within our district. And that is happening at our elementary level. And I know Lori Hernandez is going to talk. Well, we do have some introductions for Prop 28, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'll go to Mike Shaka about the secondary.
Thank you, Tamara. What you're looking at right up here is the secondary arts core. And it's important to know that the core is significantly funded by general fund money. That's important, so hold on to that, because in just a minute, we're going to come back to that. What you can see here in our core is that there's a strong desire to connect middle school and high school programs, to create that connection between middle school and high school so that the students can continue with arts passion as they move through our system. In addition, these names up here are not classes, but subjects. So within many of these names are multiple classes, multiple opportunities at a lot of different levels. So let's get to Prop 28. Prop 28 was passed with the intention of expanding and enhancing the arts in our schools. And those are really important words, expand and enhance. The spirit of Prop 28 talks about the requirement to not supplant fund, to supplement the different arts programs rather than supplant things that are currently being funded by general fund dollars. That creates a little bit of a challenge here in Newport-Mesa because we have had such rich, well-supported arts programs that in all honesty, we're having a little bit of a problem figuring out creative ways to expand and enhance our arts programs that are already so alive and well. Now, don't get me wrong, we are finding ways, and stay tuned for some pretty cool stuff, but it provides a little bit of a challenge. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of information of what's currently happening in our secondary schools with Prop 28. Right now, we have our Costa Mesa zone that's using a significant portion of their Prop 28 dollars to build a robust middle school arts program. They've hired a full-time middle school arts teacher. What amazing opportunities that expanded the number of seats and the opportunities for our middle school students in the arts pathway. In Corona Del Mar, we brought back marching band. We didn't have marching band at Corona Del Mar prior to Prop 28 for a while. That's back in action. And again, if you haven't seen that moving, it's pretty cool to see what those kids are doing. Newport Harbor is using it for middle school, their drama program, as well as to add symphony opportunities at the middle school. Estancia is focused, the Estancia zone is focused on drama. They've got their Prop 28 in other areas, but drama is the focus because we have the new theater coming online pretty soon, and building that pipeline of students to complement the theater is gonna be well-timed. Early College has an additional art class. Back Bay is expanding digital media arts programs, and Monta Vista is partnering with Segerstrom to create some walk-in experiences in music and dance that's coming to Monta Vista for the students to experience. Now I'm going to hand it over to Lori Hernandez to tell us a little bit about elementary.
So a difference between secondary and elementary is that in elementary, no single school got enough funds to hire their own person. So we had a little bit of a challenge because it's an amount of money per student, and you know our elementary schools are pretty small. So we had to put our heads together and come together and figure out a way to create whole positions, because we're not gonna, in this competitive market right now for arts teachers, as you can imagine, every district in the state has arts money now. And so when we fly a job, it's not like typically Newport-Mesa, we have no problems because people wanna be here. But right now, there is a shortage of people that wanna work in the arts, specifically at the elementary level. Because a lot of people go into it and they wanna be, a high school band director. But to get people to come to elementary, and so what we did was we got our principals together and we said 80% of the funds need to be spent on hiring people. So we knew that. We already have music teachers, we already have a robust music program. So we asked them to gather input from their communities and to rank whether they wanted to hire a theater teacher, a visual arts teacher, or a dance teacher as a group. And so that the way that looks is, if you look up here like at dance teacher, Harborview, Kaiser, Whittier, and Woodland are sharing one dance teacher. That means of 180 student days, they're splitting up the days. It's not an exact split because it's based on their funding. So we took the percentage of how much money they have, figured out, we grouped schools so to equal about one full-time position. So it was a lot of math, and so we had to strategically group schools. That's why they're grouped really randomly. It's not like by zone or anything like that. Then we flew the jobs, and we've been working to fill them. So 5 of the 6 positions are now filled. We still are in the market for another drama teacher, and Megan Brown is a great partner and is reaching out to credentialing programs, and that group, that theater group number 2, might actually expand and look at a dance teacher instead, because the theater pool of candidates is really small right now, because it's not the most desirable as far as theater jobs to work split between 4 elementary schools. People don't really know what that looks like, and even though we will make it great for these people, our secondary positions tend to get more applicants, and so we're still working on that final position. They may end up having some funds to carry over. The remaining 20% they can spend on anything else related to those categories of the arts. So Some of them are funding contracts with, people that come in and do, art with kids, or they're paying for the rights to a play that their drama teacher's going to do, or they're paying for extra instruments for their music program for some specific ensemble. So it's a variety of different, paint brushes. It's a variety of different things they can use the other 20% on. But for the 80%, that visual shows you how we are spending that money. So at this time, our team would entertain any questions.
Trustee Wygant?
Yes, on that last slide, you mentioned that for the places where you haven't hired teachers, you might take whatever, another group of schools and put that, for instance, you'd have visual arts teacher 1, and that would go to the theater arts teacher 2, or something like that.
No, so like the theater 2, so Newport-L, California Mariners, and Anderson are the ones that currently haven't filled the position. They're considering opening it up to the possibility of a dance teacher hiring, not stealing the dance teacher, but getting their own, because the dance pool we had a lot more candidates that wanted to work in dance. And so they're open, this next round, we're opening to theater or dance, and we'll see what kind of candidates we get.
Okay, so now at the sites where they have these, are they there year-round, or are they there?
It's a full teaching year, so the different schools have done different types of schedules. So like, for example, there's an art teacher, visual arts teacher number 1 between East Bluff, Newport Coast, Ray, and Davis. They've created a schedule with 2-week rotations where our art teacher will swoop in for 2 weeks, do an art lesson with groups of kids, go through the classes, and then just kind of be on a rotating, so they get it periodically throughout the year. But then there's the visual arts teacher, I think number 3, is going a longer stint, like a trimester at each school. And so they had the freedom to collaborate as a team of principals and school sites to figure out what works with their school schedule.
Okay, because I had heard that like the dance teacher at Kaiser Woodland will be there for 6 weeks, and then they're going to rotate to say Woodland or wherever.
Yep, but it's theirs. That teacher belongs to those 4 schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
That was my question, is how the teachers were splitting their time. But it's the principals that are deciding.
Yeah, the principals made a schedule, but we told them, we did the math and figured out the number of days. So it's not equal, because there was additional funds like for Title I, and if you have more students, you would get more days. So it's split. We gave them like, okay, you have 52 days with the person. And so with those parameters, they had to make the schedule.
So back to that question. So not every school is getting the same number of days for a teacher?
Correct.
So like a Woodland or a Kaiser, if they're not Title I, won't get at the dance teacher as many days as Whittier?
Correct. And it has more to do also with the number of students. So we have, such a range of number of students in each school. So it's kind of proportional to that. Yeah.
They could actually get more. I mean, Kaiser is one of our biggest schools.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it proportionally will get more because they have more students, they will get a larger
More
amount
days.
than someone with a much smaller campus.
Okay.
It is a per pupil amount.
Per pupil amount. So each per pupil will have the same amount of time with the dance teacher, or no?
It doesn't exactly work out that way, because the school gets an allotment of money based on their student population. And then, so if each school got a certain amount of money, we took that and figured out the percentage of a teacher's salary and tried to match them up, and say this one human being costs X amount of dollars. And it's not a perfect science. Obviously, every year we have to kind of go back and readjust, because, kids move in and out and all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I'm thinking is, why should we not provide everyone with the same amount of time with a teacher, like for dance, for instance, or, any of those? To me, that seems like we're using the prop funds more, equally, I guess you'd say. And I do know that there's probably more funds for the Title I schools. But yeah, I just would, I guess in my thought, I would like to see that used more equally, so everyone has an opportunity with the same amount of time with the teachers?
So the more students they have, the more time with the teacher they get, because that's the more classes they have to schedule. So it comes out pretty similarly as far as the service to students, because if you're at a big school, you're going to have a lot more classes that need time with the teacher versus a smaller school that's not going to need as many days, because so it's not like every school gets 20 days, because this school might have 700 kids and this school might have 400 kids. So it's somewhat proportional to that. And if you look at the, I mean, we can definitely get the information that shows you like kind of how that allocation is made, but that's basically how we did it. Was the state told us how much each school gets.
Yeah. And it isn't an equal distribution.
No.
It is per pupil. So, and that's why when they said earlier, the high schools, because they're such larger campuses, they had
They
a
have more money.
significant amount of money, where the elementary schools had between like 30 and 50,000. It's like, well, like, so that's why we got so creative and we're able to create these opportunities. I think in a budget conversation, if the board wanted to do something else besides the already significant contribution we have, I mean, but the amount that is allotted from the state is per pupil, so we're like,
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. It's a science, right?
It is, and the state tells us,
it's art and science.
The state tells us how much money each school gets, so it's not like we picked our favorites,
Got it.
Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. Kind of following up on that, and we're allowed to connect this funding with additional funding that we have. So, for instance, the Irvine Company money that's for educational enhancements. One of the things that I noticed was the Estancia zone is the only zone that does not have a marching band, which in my childhood, I remember it waking me up when I was 2 years old. So we had it at one point. Is there talk about bringing like those kind of programs? So all of our main comprehensive high schools have the same programs, but then also too, some things that on here it says the additional amount can possibly be used for, the additional 20% can be used on contracts. Is it possible to have some specific money mixed with like the Irvine Company money or other money to have, for instance, at Tewinkle, it looks like the other middle schools have media arts, just a basic art class. They have visual arts, but not just a general arts class. So is there a possibility about adding some of those in to bridge the gap with the Prop 28 money and then possibly have more opportunities for everyone?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and address that. In terms of planning for Estancia in Tewinkle, we have, Dr. Shaka and the team has met with each of the schools to develop their Prop 28 plans and understand more deeply where they're headed and where they wanted to enhance their programs. And specifically looking at Estancia High School and marching band, that probably could be a next step in a couple of years. We're currently rebuilding their current band and trying to develop the small band that they have right now. And so that has been something that we focused on, is trying to improve and enhance that group of students initially. Dr. Shaka mentioned CDM. CDM hadn't had a marching band in apparently like 20 years. And so after we met with their team, for example, they talked about how important that was. And they have a very small amount of students, and it's growing every time, right? So a little bit at a time. Tewinkle, we've done so much work in the last 3 years with Tewinkle, really giving them robust elective opportunities. And so with a 500 student population, we're looking at what do we want to kind of move around, change if there's anything that we want to change, because we can only add so many electives to Tewinkle just because of their student number and population. The 7th period completely helped transform the student schedule to be able to give them a double elective. But we are open to it. We just have to look to see how we do it, because even with the funding, we're not sure we could actually place all the kids in those classes with the limited number of students we have at this time. And so we are continuing to work to rebuild their enrollment, rebuild their program, and that is absolutely something that we can continue to keep in mind as we continue to look at their elective program.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I'm glad to hear that, because I think, if they're having visual arts, then maybe we can also add in the regular, I think even if there's components to it, as the 7 to 12 piece is a continuum, in my mind, we would want kids to have some exposure, even if it's not an outright full class. So I think that is important to bring in. If we have
Thank you.
orchestra, perhaps part of them can be doing marching, you know, I mean, so I'm glad that we're identifying and addressing it.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yeah, thank you so much for this presentation, and it's clear that there's a lot going on all over the district. And just to clarify that Tewinkle does have Art 1, Art 2, Advanced Drama, and Yoga. So, I mean, it has a lot of these things that it didn't have before. So it's important to point these out for the people at home, that these changes have recently happened, and there's a lot going on at Tewinkle. So thank you for all your hard work.
Yes, so I, for one, I'm thrilled to see an NMUSD strategic arts plan. I've been waiting for it, and I know that Tamara's been working through the commission because when I first became a trustee, we worked a lot on input from the commission. So I'm just thrilled, and thank you all for collaborating and making the effort. And you know, it's good to see it on paper and put it on our website, so when people say, what does Newport-Mesa do in the arts? I know our kids have great productions, and we're always talking about attending all of them, but what is it all about? So thank you for this. This is important. Secondly, it's also good for parents to see, oh, this is what's being taught at CDM. This was being taught at Estancia. And then putting it also in perspective of Prop 28, because when the people voted for this, they expected an onslaught of money. Oh, well, now everybody's going to have arts. Everyone's going to, you know, spend a whole bunch of money on arts. Well, it's tricky, and this is why it's important to explain Prop 28, that you supplement, not supplant. You expand and enhance. And so it's good for us to articulate it officially and also share it with the public in order to inform the public what we're doing with the arts and the money that they voted for. So thank you for that. I have a question about, so at the elementary school level, we're hiring all these teachers, and it's hard to try to fit everyone and have them all go. So I love the fact that you're doing it in blocks of time. It's much more efficient, makes more sense, and it's continuous. Let's talk about curriculum. Are you giving these teachers a packet that they can follow? Like, what type of professional direction are you giving them to fit the vision of the plan?
We have an arts curriculum that Tamara worked to prepare for these arts teachers, the visual arts teachers to be hired. With drama, it's a little more catered to the needs of the site. So the drama teacher would meet with the principal and see what their vision is, whether it's like acting classes and like readers theater type stuff, whether it's maybe doing a full production across a trimester or two. So it really is, the intent of the funds is to really be site driven. And so we gave them the freedom with Tamara's support. So we're supporting and with this wonderful human being that is able to meet with them and kind of connect them with resources, connect them with whatever it is they need. The dance teacher, like, she's off and running, and she has her own lessons and curriculum. If anyone has seen that, it's really magical. And so that you don't really need a curriculum for. You just need to know how to be a dancer, I guess, and know how to teach dance. So yeah, we are supporting it centrally out of the teaching and learning department with Tamara.
And obviously they're all certificated and all that.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so okay, thank you very much.
I wanted to ask a follow-up question. So this, and following kind of what Trustee Ursulou was saying, this list says secondary art core, but there's some classes like AP Art History at CDM might not be considered core, but it's on here. So what is the difference between something being a core, or the art is not on here? What is the difference between something being considered core and elective? And is there a list that has all of them together?
We just use the word core to mean like it's funded with kind of our already existing Newport-Mesa infrastructure, as opposed to show the difference between that and Prop 28.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean it's like a core curricular class. It's still an elective, but that was just the term we kind of tossed around, what term to really show the community the difference between the Newport-Mesa program and these Prop 28 editions.
Yeah, because core to me is different, so that's confusing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go on to the consent calendar. Item 18, Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Trustee Wygan, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Sordu, roll call, please.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Wygan?
Yes.
Trustee Soilu?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, consent calendar has been unanimously approved. Now we move on to 19, public hearing. 19A, public hearing disclosing the provisions of the 2024-25 tentative collective bargaining agreement with the California School Employees Association, Newport-Mesa Chapter Number 18. The hearing is now open at 7:48. Are there any public comments? Seeing that there are none, the hearing is now closed, 7:48. 19B, to approve the tentative agreement and MOU between the Newport-Mesa Unified School District and California School Employees Association and its Newport-Mesa Chapter Number 18, concluding 2024-2025 negotiations. Dr. Jocham?
Good evening. Thank you. It is my honor and privilege to present this information tonight on behalf of my esteemed colleague, Leona Olson, who's not able to be here after putting in a tremendous amount of hard work with all of the negotiations and to enjoy the fruits of all this labor. But we're happy to be here tonight. I don't know if, Jeff, if you have anything on the financial side? Okay. Thank you. So it's a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful way to begin the school year. And both the CSEA team and the district team worked very hard to understand the interest of the other side. This agreement also represents the district's interest in providing competitive salaries and a strong health and welfare package for all of our employees. The 7% salary increase places our employees in the top districts in the county, and the health and welfare benefit component continues to provide choices for employees at the highest level. As already alluded to this evening, this agreement also discusses the implementation of the Classified Employee Summer Assistance Program, the Summer Saver, and the agreement was also able to do clarification of language throughout the contract. We'd like to thank both teams for their participation and their work in getting to this agreement. As Amy mentioned earlier, from the CSEA side, Amy Cheng, who is the CSEA president, they had Lynn Aldrich, Sean Katz, Amy Schumacher, Peggy Webster, and Diego Ortega, who is their CSEA labor rep. On the district side, we had Lance Bidnick, Jake Haley, myself, Shoshana Nakano, Leona Olson, and then Kristen Clark, who was a resource to both parties, both sides during this process. So thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to
So
approve
moved.
19B? So Trustee Anderson
Second.
and seconded by Trustee Ursulou. Roll call, please. Oh, any conversation? Good job, everyone. Go ahead, roll call vote.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Wygan?
Yes.
Trustee Soilu?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
All right, the vote passes unanimously. Congratulations. 19C, a public hearing disclosing the provisions of the 2024-25 tentative collective bargaining agreement with the Newport-Mesa Federation of Teachers. Mr. Trader, any comments?
The purpose for the public hearing tonight is to disclose the cost, and the cost of this agreement is, $15,538,256.
Okay, thank you. The hearing is now open at 7:51. Are there any public comments? Seeing as there are none, the hearing is closed at 7:52. And moving on to item 19. D, approve tentative agreement between the Newport-Mesa Unified School District and the Newport-Mesa Federation of Teachers concluding 2024-2025 negotiations. Dr. Sir?
Yeah, I would like to second what Dr. Jocham stated in regards to feeling and being privileged to represent Leona Olson with the outstanding work that she has done in bringing to us tonight a tentative agreement. We are very pleased to bring forward tonight for approval the tentative agreement reached with the Newport-Mesa Federation of Teachers on August 16th, another great way to begin the year. This agreement reflects the high value the district has for our employees and represents changes to support increases in student achievement. In addition to the 7% salary increases and changes to the health and welfare benefits, there are several changes additionally to the contract, including the following: a change to the 24-25 school year calendar with the student-free day during the first parent conference week being moved to provide a report card day prior to the conference week, an increase in preparation time at the TK through third grade level, a release day for SAI teachers in the spring, simplifying the grievance process, and clarifying language surrounding transfers, late start, early release, and staff meetings. We would like to thank both teams for their commitment and efforts in reaching this agreement. On the NMFT side of the team, it was Rhonda Reed, the NMFT president, Kathleen Adamak, Alex Gladstone Lamas, Kirby Piazza, Laura Mayberry, Quang Nguyen, also known as Q, Erin Pearl, the NMFT executive director, and their team was led by Anthony Solis with the California Federation of Teachers. On the district side, we had Megan Brown, Amanda Strada, Mike Shaka, Kurt Sir, Spencer Covert, and we were led by our esteemed colleague, Leona Olson.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
and a second by trustee Anderson, was it? All right, moved by trustee Wigand and seconded by trustee Ursulou. Roll call, please.
Can I just add a quick comment? I just wanted to thank all the teachers who reached out and who were involved in part of this. I know this is something that people were, a lot of hands were part of.
Thank you, trustee Barto. Well said. Anyone else? All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
The motion is passed and the TA is now real, not tentative anymore. So congratulations. All right, we now move on to item 20, which is the discussion action calendar, 20A. Approve executive staff compensation and benefits for 2024-2025 educators. Dr. Smith.
And now that those agreements are approved by the board, it's appropriate to bring forward other staff not represented by an association in the district. The first group is our executive staff, unique group in that their employment and benefits are affected by their individual contracts. That's our executive cabinet. And they have a parallel benefit of salary and benefits. The recommendation is that the board approve that tonight.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I can't tell who's. Lisa, okay. Moved by trustee Wigand and seconded by trustee Pearson. Roll call or comments?
I just want to add, I had some outreach from the community, so I was trying to explain. Could you explain the contracted piece?
Yeah, the cabinet members have an individual contract with the Board of Education. Each of those is approved by the board. And in those contracts, it defines the benefits they get, as I said, parallel to other groups in the district. And so that's why you'll see this come back each time that we have an agreement with the other groups.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right, roll call, please.
Student Board Member Brianna Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Pearson,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, the vote is unanimous. We'll move on to 20B, which is approved management, confidential, and supervisor compensation and benefits for 2024-2025. Dr. Smith.
Yeah, and this is a big group for people looking at those titles and saying, what is that? Certainly our principals, assistant principals, directors, coordinators, executive assistants, confidential, administrative assistants, confidential, and a supervisor group that is long. Again, all those other leaders not represented by an association, and again, they get a parallel salary and benefit compensation. The recommendation is the board approves that tonight.
Any comments? All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, that was Trustee Anderson, and then
Second.
seconded by Trustee Weigand. Roll call vote?
Student Board Member Brianna Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Weigand,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Pearson,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson.
Yes.
All right, this motion also is passes unanimously. We will move on to 20C, approve credential waiver for a certificated employee. Ms. Torres?
Yes, every year we have to put in front of the board any teacher who is teaching a course outside of their authorization. And in this case, we have a teacher who is teaching driver's education, and they no longer, in the state of California, issue a credential for driver's education. And so tonight before you, you're providing, approving a waiver for this individual to be able to teach driver's education and for us to be able to issue credits for that.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, Trustee Weigand made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Anderson, any questions, comments? Let's go ahead and do the roll call vote.
Student Board Member
can
Did you have a?
Can we make sure that we're advertising this? Because I've actually been asked by a couple of parents and they don't know that we have this. So it would be lovely if we can spread the word a little bit more.
I'll work with our principals on that because we do it through Monte Vista now. And it's full right now. We have 35 kids in the program, but we will do our best to make sure our principals are putting out the word.
Thank
Yes.
And, is it? It's online, right?
It is.
Okay, great. All right, so roll call vote, please.
Student Board Member Brianna Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Weigand,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Pearson,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes unanimously. I do have a quick question. Student Board Member Garcia, did you know that this course existed?
I think I saw a couple school G posts about it from my school, but I didn't really look at them because, like, I already have my license. So, if I'm being honest. But, yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, so let's move on to 20D, approve the global adoption of the revised Newport-Mesa Unified School District Board Policies, Index 12 to 18, Newport-Mesa Unified School District 4000 Series, personnel. Dr. Smith.
Yeah, just to remind the public, we've gone through a process this year with CSBA representatives, their attorneys, our staff, updating our board policies that, as Trustee Anderson shared just last week, a lot of them were done since 2009. Laws change, titles change, so it's really important to stay up on that. The personnel 400 or 4,000 series you have in front of you. It took a little bit longer because we have to work with so many other departments. So we did the global adoption last time, or 2 meetings ago. We're bringing this back now. This would be the second read. And again, so the public is aware, this doesn't preclude the board and their policy committee from taking any one of these next week and revisiting them if there's a concern that isn't addressed tonight. But you have before you the remainder of those policies for global adoption, which would bring our policy manual up to date.
Very good thing to do. All right, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, trustee Wygand made the motion and trustee Ursulou seconded it. Any comments or anything before we move
Oh,
on?
I just wanted to thank the staff, but also thank CSBA just for doing all of this work. This is quite a heavy lift, and I also want to thank staff for flagging any policies that aren't just directly tied to ed code. So thanks for that work.
Ditto that. All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Brianna Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Wygand,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Pearson,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson.
Yes.
Great, motion passes. Let's move on to 20E. Adopt a Proposition 28, Arts and Music in Schools Funding Annual Report for fiscal year 2023-2024. Mr. Trader?
Tonight, you have before you a recommendation to adopt the Proposition 28 Arts and Music in Schools Funding Annual Report for the fiscal year of 23-24. In this report, it includes some statistics, including the number of full-time equivalent teachers, 3.6, full-time equivalent personnel of 1, number of students served, 8,984, and number of school sites providing arts education, 31, and a total of $815,845 spent.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, trustee Wygand made the motion and trustee Pearson seconded it. Any questions or comments? So I have one real quick, Mr. Trader. So this $815,845 all provided by the state.
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you. Roll call vote?
Student Board Member Brianna Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Wygand,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Pearson,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson.
Yes.
All right, thank you, motion passes. And the last one, 20F, approve the 2023-2024 unaudited actuals report. Mr. Trader?
I want to compliment Dr. Saka on his tie tonight.
Did you shop together or something? Are you
So
twins?
this is one of my favorite times that we can get together with the board. The board has a remarkable responsibility to ensure that the numbers are calculated and managed in a way that is compliant with the law. And there is a whole lot of compliance when it comes to the financial statements of the district. If you were to look under the hood, you'd see hundreds of technical checks, and so there's a lot of effort that goes into that. And we appreciate your role in this very important function. And so I hope that this doesn't put you to sleep, but helps you to sleep wonderfully every night, knowing that the numbers are done in compliance with the law. And so let's talk about kind of where we started. So what we want to do is let's look at from the adopted budget in 23-24 to where we ended up. And so the big things that you'll see here is on the unrestricted side, we ended up with revenue about 2.1% higher than we expected. And that's all in property tax and other local support. And then on the restricted side, you're going to notice that we were much higher in revenue, and this is where we're really struggling a bit. On the restricted side, 61.9% higher than what we thought when we started the year. And a lot of this is due to other state and in behalf STRS. So the CalSTRS makes us actually book a revenue number about $14.5 million for what they say is the benefit they're providing to us. We also book an expenditure too, so it washes. But we don't do that normally until the end of the year. And so that can cause this fluctuation. So we're working with doing that entry at the beginning of the year in the budget so that we don't see this big fluctuation. But other than these things, other state and other local support, That's pretty plain vanilla. And then on the restricted side for expense, let's talk about expense. Unrestricted expense was lower than expected by about 2.5%, and that is a lot in staffing. And then the restricted expense was higher by 8.4% to track with the additional revenue that we were getting. And so you can see again on the restricted side, we're experiencing a lot more variability than we would like to see. Encroachment and transfers out. So let's talk about that. So it's really support. When we say encroachment, we don't like that. It's really support for our restricted programs that we have out there, including special education, routine restricted maintenance, those things. And so on the transfers outside, they did increase some. We had a transfer in of $12.2 million, and that's comprised of 10 million, and then about 1.2 million. I'm sorry, let me back up. 10 million from our workers' comp fund, 1.2 million from our retiree fund, and another 1 million from our Fund 17. That's for special projects other than capital facility projects. And then the transfers out, 22.4 million. We're looking at there, 11.2 million is going to go to reduce our OPEB liability, and that's according to all this is for we're tracking to your direction that you've provided us in those budget workshops that we do. Thank you, by the way. Very helpful to get your direction, and so we're hoping that you're noticing that we're following that direction that you're providing us. And then the other balance was 1.2 million to the cafeteria fund and 10 million to the special reserve for capital facility projects. So you can see there we did have some variability in those categories. And so then when we look at the ending fund balance, the unrestricted ending fund balance increased by 13.9 million, and the restricted fund balance increased is higher by 24.7 million. So from an unrestricted perspective, that's wonderful to be able to make sure that we have enough resources there to satisfy our cash flow needs during our cash dry period between July and December. And so when we look at these are some good, I know I'm supposed to be the doom and gloom guy, yes, but there's some really good news in 23-24. And so you'll see here the enrollment trend. We experienced, when COVID hit, we experienced quite a drop, like all the other districts did. However, we're flattening out now, and that's a really good thing. Not all districts are flattening out, and so this is a great story for us. And then when we look at the district reserve level, so this includes both general fund and Fund 17 that are marked as reserves. So when you look at that is a wonderful up and to the right look there. And then when you look at the percent, this is the highest I would say we've had in over 30 years, the highest reserve level. And so again, marking to your direction in the budget study sessions, which you did, you said, hey, we really need to make sure we have the appropriate reserves, especially for it being a basic aid district. And so we're looking at stability there. You're building in stability into our system, and that's greatly appreciated. And then if you look at our maintenance effort for facilities, so
what is that car, Jeff?
I will explain what that car is doing there. But this is amazing. Again, marking to your direction in the budget study sessions about taking care of our facilities. This is the most, I think, this has ever been in our district. 5.1% spent on routine restricted maintenance. And this equates to a staggering amount of work. Wow. And it's all compliments of our maintenance and operations group, facilities group, headed up by Lance Bidnick and Ada De La Soul. And this is really a strong effort here to get things done. You know, our facilities are from I say, a facilities perspective, we're driving a 1960s Ford LTD Country Squire wagon. And at the time, man, that thing was great. That was going from point A to point B. That was marvelous. But man, I'm telling you, this thing does not pass a gas station or a repair shop now. It doesn't. So the facilities require a lot of care. And so, but we're making that happen. But if you think about it, I'm getting back to doom and gloom now. If you think about, how our students have changed from the 60s to now, very different security and safety concerns, very different from an IT perspective, very different from, a health and safety perspective. Think about the building codes that have changed since then. So it's just remarkable that we're able to keep these facilities moving along. And you do this, unlike other districts, you use general obligation bond money to put in air conditioning, to put on new roofs, put in new flooring. You don't do that. You don't use general obligation bond money for that. You use that to build theaters and things like that. And so it's been really good that we've been able to make this effort here to take care of our facilities, because truly, if the air goes down, we're not educating students in a heat wave. That just stops. And so we really have if these systems are really, really important. And so they have to be maintained, because it can really stop us cold if they don't work. And then on top of this good news, not only are we taking care of our facilities, we're taking care of our obligations to our employees and reducing our liabilities, but we're also maintaining the program. We're maintaining everything that we have started with COVID, and also exceeding this. So when you think about LCFF, our local control funding formula supplemental formula, so we're required to spend on our English learner, low income, and foster youth students. We're required to spend about 19 some odd million dollars. We exceeded that requirement by $4.3 million. And again, we don't get any funding from the state for this. So you're honoring more than what you have to in terms of helping these students who have the greatest needs. And so that's wonderful. That's a great story. And so then we're also contributing to our net position. You'll recall that there's a net position in our audit that you'll receive in January. And it has been negative since about 2014, when the Governmental Accounting Standards Board issued some changes where we had to start including retirement and health and welfare liabilities on our balance sheet. It's been negative ever since then. I fully expect that when you have the audit come in January, you're going to have a positive net position. And that's all because of the effort you've told us to put into making that happen. And so I believe that's going to happen. That's another great contribution. And then if you look at our financial activators, Dr. Smith has asked us to monitor these things, to help us give us a leading forecast of how we are doing, and all of them are either favorable or acceptable. And some of the highlights there, if you look at our Moody's credit rating, AA1, the second highest, is rarefied for a school district. And we're adding to the general fund balance by $13.5 million. And so it's a great story for 23-24. And so in summary, we're making really strong efforts in all areas, and I'll take any questions you've had, if any.
Let us digest a little bit the information.
It's okay if you don't have any. I'm good.
No, this board has questions, so I can guarantee you. All right, so we'll start with Trustee Wygand.
I want to compliment the ties today. The plaid is really great. I love it. Well, I want to say thank you so much for keeping us financially stable. And a couple things that you did highlight primarily was the maintenance, that we do spend more than we've ever have with aging facilities. So that's huge. And we do that out of our own general fund without having any kind of bond measure. And then our reserve level being the highest it ever has been, that's huge, especially in this cash dry period when, the economy looks a little iffy at the moment. So this is, it's great for us to see this, and I can't wait for the positive net position in January. So just wanted to say thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Well, I just have a silly
Trustee
question.
Murphy.
Just a silly question. So what kind of car do you think we're driving now, Jeff? Just like
Oh, it's that same Ford LTD Country Square, and we drive it with pride. Totally, we drive that thing with real pride. It's
Except for our theaters, that's about it. Everything else is Ford's 1960s. I actually, okay, Trustee Anderson.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you for the financial activators section. I know we did not have that before, and that was something that Dr. Smith helped bring to our district. And even just the change on, I think there were 1 or 2 of them that were on the border of evaluate and acceptable, and now from the first interim to the unaudited actuals, now we are all in the acceptable and mostly 50-50 favorable. So thank you for listening to that, particularly about the reserves. It's crazy to think that we have in such a short amount of time gone from around 38 million to around 115 million in reserves. It scares me to think that in 2019 there was only 38 million, and now I feel like we're in a much better place if anything were to happen, and particularly for the facilities. I know every conversation that I have, I think with staff or with people in our community, is our buildings are getting older. We have not necessarily always maintained the maintenance at the level that we should have. So I'm so thankful that we're doing that now. I think that puts us in a good place for the future. If we need to do a bond, we know that we have been really responsible and have not done it until we've absolutely needed it, which we might need to do at some point with a huge building project. So thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else? I wanted to comment on our net position. I think it's wonderful that was it 2 years ago that we started planning to do this as far as?
yes, I think that's when we got the direction from.
Yes. So I very much appreciate that you are hearing us, that we want to be a fiscally responsible governing board, and to do it when, even in good times, not necessarily just in bad times, and be reactive. I love the fact that we're proactive when it comes to the money. And so I look forward to keeping that trend going upwards to the right. And the $10 million contribution to the irrevocable post-employment benefit fund, is this something that we will be doing every year at the same amount, or does it just depend on what we can afford? Is it based on a formula that?
So it does depend on the amount that we can afford. And right now, you're scored at about 1% of salary.
Okay.
But we've been having good experience, and so we can provide a little extra in that regard this time.
That's great. Okay. Thank you. Trustees, anything else? Thank you, Mr. Trader. We always appreciate your hard work. So do I have a motion for 20F to approve the 2023-2024 unaudited actuals report?
So moved.
Trustee Anderson,
Second.
with a second from Trustee Ersoylu. Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Brianna Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Crane.
Yes.
Trustee Wiegand.
Yes.
Trustee Ersoylu.
Yes.
Trustee Barto.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Pearson.
Yes.
Trustee Anderson.
Yes.
Excellent. Motion passes unanimously. So let's go ahead and go to the resolution adoption calendar that's item 21. And 1 second, please. Dr. Smith.
Yeah, we conduct a biennial review of conflict of interest codes in even years, so we're up this year, and happy to report there are no changes or modifications to the code before you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this, 21A?
So moved.
Trustee Barto, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Murphy, any comments, questions All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Great, motion passes. 21B, adopt resolution 20924, Gann limit for 2023-2024, and estimated Gann limit for 2024-2025 review. Mr. Trader?
These are just routine changes in our Gann limit, and we recommend adoption.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Wigand.
Second.
Trustee Murphy, seconded. Roll call vote.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to 22, informal reports. Superintendent Smith.
I want to start out tonight by complimenting our board. Went to the topping out activity the other day at Estancia. Topping off, topping out, beam thingy. What struck me, the project's impressive, but having the opportunity to meet some of our former trustees, as well as all of you, and I was here for the conversations about starting that project, and it just really made me grateful that we have people in our community that volunteer to do this hard work, that have the vision, that kind of fight those fights, to provide resource for our students. And it really struck me when the teacher, Amber, was watching it bawling, right? That's what this collective impact of, many years of trustees brought to fruition. I sat with Trustee Anderson doing a candidate meeting last week, and she was going through what the trustees do and our protocols. And I was just struck by how much all of you do and how well our team has done with our protocols, the intentionality around professionalism. And we shared with the folks, never forget our students are watching. And I'm proud of what you represent, the 7 of you, when our students are watching. Tomorrow I'll be at the Interfaith Luncheon for Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, and Irvine, giving a state of the schools with a trustee from Irvine. So we'll see how that goes. Wish me well. No questions, just show up and we'll ask you some things. It should be fun. I do want to end by just complimenting everybody involved in negotiations. I started teaching in Southern California, moved to Northern California, and in both places, people used to say, we want to get paid like X district. By the way, X district wasn't named Newport-Mesa, but it was in Orange County, all over the state. That was the goal, right? Certificated classified, I want to be compensated like them. With these new agreements, that's exactly where we'll be, above that. So people all around the state are going to say, I want to be a part of this district, of this work. And you didn't do it at the expense of any of those things that matter to you. Think about what we just heard. What I just said is true about where we'll be in Orange County, which is amazing. We also, though, have reserves that allow us to protect district interest. Trustee Anderson just mentioned we have some big projects coming up, and we don't have GeoBond resources to fund these projects. We do it out of a general fund. And without the reserves, you don't have that flexibility of doing something that becomes imperative in the moment, right? Because of that, we can. Our net position is better. We read reports, several times a year about net position. Well, we have a chance for it to be positive this year. The, AA1 rating that we have, the investment we also from our community, we have to do more with routine maintenance. You made this commitment years ago to do more with routine maintenance. Well, we've never done more than we're doing right now with routine maintenance. So all those things are getting done, and we're able to, because of governance, again, we're able to have a celebration tonight for our employees, classified, certificated, management, for a job well done. And now I'm excited for us to have those results that mirror that, right? Let's be the best in all categories. Let's be the best in how we're compensated. Let's be the best in how we perform, right? Let's set those standards across the state. But just a celebration to everybody that worked hard to make this happen, the trustees included.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We now will go down the line with our trustee reports, beginning with Trustee Wygant.
Thank you. Wanted to compliment all of our new student board members for a job well done on their first night tonight. It's great to see them. Can't wait to hear more about them throughout the year. Also, I've been to a lot of back to school nights that have been so wonderful to see different classrooms, but also get to see some of our new parents and our principals get up and do a overall welcome to a lot of the new parents and just parents in general that want to listen to them. But it's been amazing. Some of our principals that got up and talk about either the PBIS programs that they have, or just the expectations that we have for all of our students and all of our teachers. And it's been heartwarming to have new families come to Newport-Mesa, but also come back from some private schools. And we're like, wow, I never knew that we have such robust programs or such robust expectations for our students. So that's been really heartwarming to see. And then on a personal note, I went to the Battle of Bay volleyball game at Newport Harbor versus CDM, and Harbor won. But I was impressed by how hard these women hit the ball. And as we're talking about our facilities, I think some of our facilities, age of them give a school an advantage over another, as in the height of the ceiling at maybe Newport Harbor High School's gym. It really, not a lot of people know how to hit off that ceiling, so it was an advantage. But yeah, that was my report. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Wygant. Trustee Osoilo?
Yeah, there's been a lot going on, a lot of sports activities, a lot of different things. And I've had the pleasure of going around to some of the PTA meetings, the kickoff PTA meetings from the beginning of the year, and hearing from the parents. And it's been really great to see, like, the turnout at these PTA meetings has dramatically increased from the past few years, honestly. And I actually was really excited to see at California Elementary the changes in real life that Mr. Trader and team are responsible for, the new flooring at the NPR at California. I was like, wow, you even have like a new nice NPR here from when my daughter was there. So it was really exciting to see all these changes and all these engaged parents. So I look forward to continuing to hear from them.
I went to Ensign's back to school night, and I've just been overall really pleased to hear from lots of parents who are having a good time back at school. Ensign's back to school night was great. There are so many clubs and so many sports, and just a real focus on the student leaders there. I was very, very impressed by their ASB president. I wish I could speak half as articulately as that little 13-year-old girl. So it's great to see what our students are doing. It's great to see the investments in the arts, and I'm excited to see what's going on at Newport Harbor at their back to school night next week.
Yes, ditto on Ensign for sure. Thanks as always to Jeff and his team for everything that you are doing to, keep this old wagon trucking along. I want to know, Jeff, when you think we're going to get to like mid 80s, version, maybe an early 90s car. Then it was nice to hear from the Costa Mesa foundation staff. They had lots of ideas about what to spend that arts money on. So thanks for the comprehensive report. It does not include everything that they wanted to spend that money on. So I'm sure, that next conversation around that will be a good one. It was nice to hear everyone so positive and excited about everything they can, not everything, but all that they can do with that funding. So thanks to everyone who worked on that. And Costa Mesa High School football and Frosh Soft is undefeated, and right. Woo! And a certain dad is back there, very proud, and and the high school team I think is 3-1, right? Because we almost lost that game to Estancia. I mean, it was super close.
Wait.
Not close.
I also enjoyed going to all the back-to-school nights, the positive energy, kids, parents, and teachers, everyone extremely happy. Got to visit East Bluff and meet Mrs. Ebby, the new principal there, and she was just passionate about the school, the teachers, the students, and she's just going to be a great asset to our team. My favorite school site visit, though, had to have been the Corona Del Mar Middle School. I went with Trustee Crane and Trustee Gann, and we walked at lunchtime on campus and actually got to see the kids not on their phones while they were eating, and it was an experience I will never forget. Usually you would walk by at lunch and nobody even put their heads up. We must have been, we spent an hour. I mean, they would not let us because they were so bored, their heads were up. They stopped us every 10 feet. I mean, some group of students stopped us, played the silliest games with us, and it was such a great thing to watch, and I'm just so proud of our efforts to take away the phones from the students in the junior high schools. I'm extremely proud of that. I also attended the Newport-Mesa School Foundation meeting, the State of the School Breakfast, October 8th, from 7 to 8:30 in the morning at Corona Del Mar. So please join us if you can.
Thank you. I was able to attend the Back Bay Cafe, the community and family engagement event, and it was wonderful to see just the legacy that Dr. Bauermeister had left. It's wonderful when someone retires and what you've developed continues. That's, I think, a huge marker of success. So it was amazing that the group just was able to pick up and continue on and really equip the new principal. There's a new principal and assistant principal instead of having to rebuild from scratch, as has happened sometimes. And then I also am so thankful to have been able to be a part of the Chopping Off Beam festivities at Estancia. I don't think that when I attended there in the late 90s, I ever would have thought, that we would have a theater there or that I would be involved in that. And so it was just really lovely to be a part of that and have former school board member Tom Egan, who was the first person that I talked to when I was thinking about running in 2017, be there as well. And I'm really thankful that we were able to continue to offer and build on our summer school successes. It wasn't that long ago that some of us were fighting for the essential and valuable component that summer school is for some of our students. So the ability that one of our schools literally had 40% growth in such a short amount of time is very impressive. And so I'd love to continue those efforts. And I am looking forward to the PTA meeting at Victoria on Thursday and our upcoming data chats to dive deeper into our student achievement data. That's all.
Thank you. Yeah, I too wanted to echo Trustee Pearson's experience at CDM High School that is piloting the Yonder program. I believe that it is definitely a scalable project, and the board has put their weight behind the no cell phone policy for TK to 8th, and I do hope that the other sites will take advantage of trying it out, because it's an amazing experiment in social behavior. Crazy, amazing. Eye contact, conversation, not using an object as a crutch, but developing tools to communicate with each other, and even though it's uncomfortable, even, engaging with adults. I mean, middle schoolers engaging with adults when they don't have to. Wow. So what I'm calling it is the Yonder Wander, really. So I hope that catches on. But thank you to Corona Del Mar admin for taking the initiative to Dr. Haley and his team to take the initiative and be brave, because we didn't know the reaction of the community, the parents. And truly, I've heard just one complaint out of 600 students or whatever, how many students we have at CDM Middle School. And actually, I'm hearing more about high school families that want to extend it into high school. I've heard more of that, at least 5 or 6 parents saying, let's keep it going through high school. So this board is the type that will assess data and see how it fits, but definitely some feedback moving forward. It's been wonderful going to the back to school nights, CDM, Full House, East Bluff PTA, East Bluff back to school night. Again, a lot of parents involved and engaged. It's wonderful. Looking forward to, we've attended the CDM PTA meeting, foundation, all that. We're getting back into the routine of back to school. So that's wonderful because we're here to support and be the pulse of the community, because that's part of our priorities is parent engagement, meaningful parent and community engagement. Looking forward to the career and college fair on October 16th. Very excited about that. Also, our State of the School breakfast on October 8th at Corona Del Mar High School. We are looking forward to hosting everyone. And I'm attending Soy's, what do they call it? Back to Soy Night. So that's tomorrow at 5. And then we've got foundation and then Battle of the Bay flag football, I believe, at 7 p.m. So thank you all, and I'm very thrilled about what we can offer all of you as a team, and love hearing the positive news on the financials, because that's always that's what drives us. We can't function if we're not stable and fiscally responsible. So thank you to all for making it happen. On that note, 8:38, meeting is adjourned.